My name's Ragtag, the greatest gutter tier gamer on the face of this earth, and today I want to tell you the story about how I lost my confidence in Apex Legends. This season, once again, I thought I'd try my hand at the road to diamond, but it wasn't long before I was given a road to reality. And that reality was the exit from this bronze freeway was nowhere to be found. Instead, I had to drive a straight road of inescapable agony and an experience that would cost me my will to succeed before I'd hardly begun. It started out with me thinking a couple of warm-up games in Battle Royale would put me in the zone for a ranked climb, and I chose Loba to give me the pick of the lobby's loot. Flinging us towards Bionomics, I was about to discover the ferocity that my enemies were capable of unleashing, as the fight for our lives would be non-stop from the moment we landed. Looks like someone left without saying goodbye. The lobby was disintegrating in what felt like the blink of an eye, and before we'd even thought about catching our breath, the fight was on once again.
Enemy spotted.
It was time for Loba trickery that our enemies would not expect. I didn't understand why I couldn't move away from the grenade, and then it hit me. Mirage was downed and, of course, invisible, blocking my path. But it wasn't just the fact that I was a complete moron, it's that my enemies were getting harder to hit, and more often than not, I'd be in a firefight only for this to happen. Apparently, in my absence, there was a rise of people looking to gain an edge by becoming movement gods, or by modifying their config files on PC to allow them to bind crazy movement skills to a single button. That didn't sit right with me, and neither did this next game when we dropped hot into Bonsai Plaza. My enemies wanted to treat BR like a grand tournament? Fine, that's why I brought Wraith. Pathfinder downed, but the Havoc would help me get even and get my teammate back in the Okay.
Hello.
Just the two of us left, but I knew if we could just lure the rest of that squad here, we'd conquer this zone. But luring just one squad wasn't the problem. My teammates might have given up on this game, but I decided that enough was enough. I was going to survive to the end of this match and perfectly time a third party to walk away the victor to prove that once and for all I have what it takes to compete against anyone and win. As I overlooked Hammond Labs with 5 squads left, the sounds of gunfire presented an opportunity to do exactly that, and I portaled myself towards the battle in case I needed a quick escape.
Getting shot at. Got a replicator coming in.
Too much could go wrong here. The timing was bad and I'd have to pick a better moment. 4 squads left now, and I found a safe place to wait until the battle heated up again, which is when everything changed.
Care package being delivered.
On first glance, you might think that the Pathfinder just has a really good gaming chair, but as I watched, I realised that gaming chairs, as comfy as they are, I haven't yet found one that unlocks the skill of X-ray vision. cheaters, one-touch neo-strafing config file bandits, strike packs, Cronus, whatever it's called. How could I compete with any of that garbage on top of not being good enough against normal players? I decided to step into ranked because at least teammates couldn't leave after getting downed. How bad could it be anyway? I was in bronze after all. Come on, Bloodhound, let's climb.
Can you scan?
Learn how to scan. Okay, thanks for the tip. Helpful teammates are the best. Perhaps this was nothing more than a blip though, so I thought nothing of it and leapt back into the saddle.
Can you scan?
Really? So easy! I didn't even see him. Then began my descent into darkness, to a nightmare both cruel and unimaginable, a place for which there was no escape.
Stop taking all the f***ing bats, man. Getting on my nerves, bro. I saw you take them from the other body over there, so don't check.
Hold on, son. I've got 2 shield batteries, and that's the end of it. I can give you one if you like, though.
I soon realised that I wasn't playing true bronze players, because if I were, I'd have walked into silver by now, but instead I was playing a machine, a hidden MMR that put me against my betters who were previously plat, diamond and masters, meaning that I may as well wipe my butt with a ranked badge, which is why my badge is brown. I left my ranked prison as my confidence was in tatters. I mean, surely the Battle Royale mode couldn't remain as bad as it was. But then I met a player who rekindled my inner fire. A Masters player who had the 4,000 damage, 20 elimination badges, but even this impressive resume might not be enough to turn my luck around. So with my mindset at an all-time low, I asked my team, where would you like to die? And before I gave them time to respond, I threw down the gauntlet to challenge the fates to strike me down once again, this time in Energy Depot. Imminent death was no longer a surprise. In fact, I welcomed it. It would appear that my offering was accepted, and I awaited the end of this game with complete and utter apathy. But my teammates were not so ready to accept such a fate and dispatched our enemies with ease. This game might be different. Pathfinder then had a disagreement with his little brother. And we found ourselves halfway through the game already, with our next targets being in Hammond Labs. My teammates already started the party, and I began to feel like I was going to be dragged around this map. Away, were they? Well, I'd make sure of it that they ran right into me. But they didn't run, and Pathfinder paid the price for my flank. Somehow I prevailed through the madness, and Hammond Labs was ours. This was the first game where I had encountered a squad of carefree mercenaries who were several moves ahead of everyone else, including me. Just like that, Pathfinder soared towards the States, and while I'd like to say I joined him, I scuffed the flight and ended up late yet again. Thinking I was shield batting, I messed up the timing of my heal, so guess who paid the price for my idiocy? The only enemy left here was the Burning Ring, and I went for our MVP first, but in hindsight, it's usually better to revive the teammate with the lowest HP, because then you're left balancing your own life with theirs, and I don't know about you, but in these situations, I choose life. My life. That was unfortunate, but at least there was a res beacon 20 meters away. That would go unused. That's the laziest lever I've ever seen. Apparently, it's too much trouble to be resurrected right next to your death box. 4 squads became 3, meaning that all we had to do now was fight off the last 2 squads to break this awful streak of fails and see the champion screen that I'd almost forgotten even existed. Our fate would be decided in Gardens, where everyone left in this lobby would gather for the final showdown. It was just us and them, but with a resurrection in play, it'd be 2v3. But if we just pushed now, we could bulldoze this team back to the menus.
I am taking fire.
In came the ring, and now was a bad time for indecision. All of a sudden, this game had gone from an almost certain victory to a sure defeat. My only chance was if the last team suspected we were a 3-stack and were too hurt to push us. After all, their lifeline was down by the ring.
Don't worry, I'm here.
Made it! But the other team were about to show us why they lasted this long, as their positioning was well thought out, whereas I flopped about like a fish out of water. Hope faded, and my chances of coming back from a knock like that were slimmer than a... I didn't even get time to form an analogy. Well, he was 1v2 now, and all I could give him was my unflinching loyalty and never-ending support.
I'm out of shotgun ammo.
Even though he'd run out of shotgun ammo, the Kraber could still finish this game. When Path took a last look in the supply bins before committing to war, he ignored the R301 with the light ammo, which meant he was still counting on finding shells for his Mastiff, or something truly extraordinary was about to happen. Despite our second place finish, I congratulated my teammate on his impressive performance, and to my surprise, he invited me back for more. Now that I knew what to expect from this destroyer of lobbies, maybe this time I'd be able to keep up with the incredible pacing and bring home a win. Path pinged Gardens and I obeyed, but so did half the lobby. Find a way to get Fuse's banner, but with limited supplies and even more limited skill, this was a mission we'd have to complete together. Whilst we could rescue our teammate right here, I knew fine well that if I went to the beacon, I'd be going alone. Curse you, Mirage, and your movement! Good job, teammate. I had one elim, and there were only 8 squads left to make that 7, 6, no 5. Well, at least Fuse would be back for the end game, and what an end game this would be. One I've never seen before in my 18 seasons of Apex Legends. We scoured Energy Depot hoping to catch an enemy team unawares, but as is often the case, the clueless one was in fact me. As I hid inside, Fuse went skydiving. Right off the map. Horrible way to go, but that wouldn't be me. Not on this day. Trapped inside this cubbyhole without any more shields, I wasn't about to allow my enemies to storm this toy castle. I'd ride out and meet them in the open.
You should.
Fuse's banner timed out and he saw no reason to stay and watch a hopelessly lost game, but Pathfinder never gave up, waited for his moment, and brought me back. As fun as it was to play with a much stronger combatant, this didn't change the fact that I clearly had no business mixing it up in lobbies like this, and the only way I could see myself surviving would be to grab a rampage and use brute force whenever possible. We ended up in phase terminal. I was probably about to get carried again, but we were going to get a chance to avenge my death. And Fuse's coerced leap of doom because those enemies were right in front of us and I was no longer trapped. Triumphant, but the last team had found us and were looking for a quick finish. I needed loot, but there was no time, and Pathfinder suggested a sideward exit. We had to move. Heavy ammo was becoming a problem, and suppressing that team of 3 without the rampage meant we might have to give up ground, and give it up we did. That enemy squad was terrifying. Pathfinder ran out of ammo, and the fate of our game balanced on a knife's edge. We had one play left, my ultimate, grenades, and YOLO. Hold on, Fuse, I'm coming!
Ain't no butler here.
Pathfinder was still in this game though, and his Peacekeeper was in perfect working condition. By the end of the match, my teammate was probably wondering why both members of his squad threw themselves to their death, but despite my idiotic demise and being constantly slaughtered in ranked, I found the one thing that I'd previously lost that mattered most to me while playing Apex Legends: my sense of humour. Because if you don't laugh, you'll cry. Catch you in the next one, guys. Later.